It's weird just from, back in, you were talking about on Degrassi TV with the lockers and the shooting season 3 thread and
Yes.
just how much information back then, waiting for you to come in maybe once a week or twice a week. And now, on Twitter every day, finding out something, leaks, and just how much everything has changed in just the past couple seasons.
Well, yes, it's changed both in the way that we give information out, and there's so much speculation, and some of the speculation is true, but a lot of it is not true.
Mm-hmm.
But we love getting people's reactions on Twitter. I mean, even the negative reactions, even the ones that are sometimes rude or horrible. We take it all in the spirit that we're all engaged in trying to make a great show, and sometimes we don't succeed, and we deserve to be told when we don't succeed or we do something we shouldn't do. But I love, there's some of the vlogs where you've got people talking, and the DG experience.
Yes.
Those are just fantastic because you're seeing the fans really getting involved with the stories, and bringing the characters into their lives. What more can we ask? So, if the occasional leak, if the Twitter giveth and the Twitter taketh away, I guess is what we'll say. But I think for the most hand, the Twitter and the Tumblr giveth, and we'll welcome it with open arms.
Back onto All Falls Down, last season on Twitter, people were criticizing you a bit because there wasn't a death, because you claimed, it was a very good episode, and which it was a very good episode, but people, assumed, I guess, that somebody would die in it. Is there any episodes that you guys have shot so far now in season 11 that you think is going to top All Falls Down in that sense?
It's so hard to say, and I genuinely, All Falls Down is one of my favorite episodes. And partly it's the music in it, that I just find that pounding music as you're driven towards the end just so compelling. Mm-hmm. We just finished mixing episode 1121. To be honest, I forget what the title of 1121 is, but you can check it up. And it's a very, very, there's great music in it. There's some great stories. I think that will be a very powerful episode. And, of course, the mid-season finale, as we might call it, I think will be very powerful. There'll be twists and turns along the way. I've learned my lesson not to let my own excitement, and it's genuine excitement, where, I just so desperately want people to see the show, and I want them to be as excited as I am. Mm-hmm. But I've learned to temper that and just say, well, you tell me what you think. I mean, it's coming up, and I think you'll like it, but, it's up to you to tell me.
All Falls Down was a really good episode. I think, like you said, the problem with it wasn't that there wasn't a death. It was that so much of it was revealed from official sources and stuff like that.
Yes.
You told me last time that season 4 was probably the most important favorite season to you, but at that time you did not include season 10 in your consideration because it hadn't completely aired yet. So now that season 10 is completely done, would you change to season 10, or is it still 4, or is something else maybe took over?
Oh, I would certainly throw season 10 into the mix. I forget what I said last time, because it's sort of like when you have various children, it's hard to say, oh, this one is my favorite child as opposed to this one. You want to treat them all equally. The first season always has a sentimental attachment to me, and in particular the very first episode, because just bringing it all together then was so enormous. Season 4, yes, an absolute highlight, just because it was so intense, and it the reverberations just carried on. Mm-hmm. But season 10 has to be up there. Was such a different way that we were able to tell the story. It was almost a brand new beginning. Mm-hmm. Doing the storytelling, on a daily basis for a lot of the season opened us up to just a brand new energy and a brand new world. And, I don't know whether we discussed this the last time, but because we were going on the daily basis, up until then, we were really having to wrap up stories within the half hour or occasionally within the hour. Mm-hmm. And that put incredible discipline, which was good in its own ways, but also, some shackles onto the storytelling. Because if you're going to introduce a story about, anorexia or crack or something like that, and you had to start it and then basically wrap it up in some way with the person in rehab or dealing with the issue within half an hour or an hour, that is more limiting than what we're able to do now. And we were able to just open up our way of storytelling to say, oh no, you can have a problem. You can start to develop what is going on in Eli's mind over not just the boiling point, but over the boiling point and over Now or Never and beyond. Mm-hmm. And you can really develop as someone who clearly has some issues and yet is an intriguing character, being able to do that over a long period of time. And, whether there's drugs or whatever other storyline you want to tell, being able to do it over weeks rather than over a single episode has really opened us up. So, yeah, season 10, I'm not going to rank it and say it's better or, more favorite or less a favorite. Mm-hmm. It's almost like it's a completely different universe.
Are there any storylines that you've wanted to do, but you guys haven't figured out quite how to work them in? I mean, obviously you've covered so many things, but is there something that's kind of giving you trouble that you haven't been able to figure out?
The biggest one is suicide. And it's a story that needs to be told in some way, and we have never... back in what we call Degrassi Classic,
yes,
we were able to deal with it in a way, but in the next generation, it's such a sensitive topic. Mm-hmm. If you make it someone who's not one of our real characters, or one of our main characters, mm-hmm. that's just not the Degrassi way of doing things. I mean, part of the basis of how we tell the stories is it's always one of our main, or almost always one of our main characters who comes in, so that who's been there all along, and you lead up to it, and you see, if someone's bringing a gun to school, it's not somebody random who brings a gun to school. It's Rick, who we've seen dealing with the bullying issue and dealing with his own problems. And if we were ever to be able to do a suicide story, I think we'd have to figure out a way to do it in that way. But to do it without being exploitative, and the terror, of course, would be any kind of copycat. Right. We just haven't figured out how to do that one.
Earlier today, Much Music announced a special premiere event. Can you tell us a little more what people can expect at that?
Yes, it'll be, hopefully it'll be nice weather. So far the forecast is for really good weather. So it'll be outside of Much Music in the parking lot there, which can, fit about 500 people. And so there'll be a big screen. The cast will be, and I think it's on the release, so you may actually know the times better than I do, but I think starting at 7:00, some things will happen, and then some interstitials during the show itself. Mm-hmm. So the cast will be mingling with the crowd, and actually they will be seeing this episode, many of them for the very first time. Mm-hmm. There will be a tent set up where you can experience, if people haven't already experienced the mobile game, they'll be able to do that. But there'll also be computers so that they can, tap into what's going on online. And generally, there will be, a little bit of speeches, a little bit of question and answer, but some autograph signings. And I think it will just be hopefully a nice, warm, sunny. If it's raining, we've got contingency plans to move it inside, and that will be cool too. Mm-hmm. But it's just going to be a joy, I think, for all of us to say, hey, we've started shooting in mid-March this year, and now we're in July, and it's time to have a hamburger and enjoy the show.
Now, that's in Canada. Are there going to be any events planned for the U.S.? I know there was talk maybe about mall tours again.
What's happening is this. I've had conversations with Teen Nick, and they know how much the fans, and I certainly champion this cause, really would love to be doing something like mall tours again. Uh-huh. I cannot say to you that there's any definite news on the horizon about that. I can say that if for some reason that doesn't transpire in the way that we would all hope it to, I'm actually starting to have meetings in a completely different direction, and I won't say too much more about this. We're on our own, and this is something that would take more time, so I don't think we could do anything this year. We're on our own. We would establish a way to have a Degrassi presence in various cities in Canada and the United States. Not mall tours so much as something different than that, but being able to establish that kind of a presence. So I'm very much working on it. I'm frustrated that I can't. I don't have anything to say now, and I can't even honestly say, oh, there's something that will be announced shortly. I keep working on it. I keep hoping that something will happen. If it doesn't happen in the way we'd like this year, I'm really working hard to just, take the bull by the horns and get something maybe in a different way happening next year.
Today, a new Teen Nick promo aired. They said there was going to be limited commercial breaks. So is that, and I guess there's going to be like some interviews during where the commercials would be with the cast, I think. I don't know if that's something Teen Nick put together or...
That's right. They actually, what it will be, and they're sort of fun things where they shot them a while ago. And the interviews are the cast, some of them are talking about what's coming up in the season, but of course at the time the cast had no idea what was coming up in the season. So they were as much in the dark, really, as the audience. So some of the answers sort of made me smile. But I think it'll be fun because you'll see, the real cast behind the scenes sort of answering some questions. And I think they're going to include maybe some clips to sort of tease some future, but very, very short clips to tease some of what's going to be happening in the future.
The episode itself isn't extended, right?
No, it will be the same length. And so, for example, the show that is seen on Much Music will be identical to the show that is seen on Teen Nick.
And before we wrap it up here, I got two questions, kind of odd ones. A lot of people wanted to know these two things, if you would answer them. The first one is about Miss Kwan, that she did not appear at all in season 10, and she's been in every other season. Is she going to be around in 11, or is she done with the show?
She is not in any of the episodes that have been shot so far. I really love Lin Lin, and now that you brought it up, I keep meaning to go down and just find out, isn't there a way that we could bring her back just for old time's sake? So I'll ask that, because she's genuinely, everybody loves working with her. Yeah. And to be honest, I just don't recall what happened, whether there was something that happened in her life that meant that she wasn't carrying on. Or I just, to be honest, forget.
And then the last thing is about Fitz, if he would be appearing in any of the season 11 episodes, or if his character is also gone.
We haven't been commenting on Fitz. And I don't know whether I should say anything now or not, but let me just say people should not be holding their breath for the return of Fitz.
And then the very last thing is, at the end of the last interview, you gave me all the episode titles for In Too Deep as part of a exclusive. And for season 11, we already know pretty much all the episode titles now, so I was wondering if there was any little exclusive something that you could give to the end for me and the fans here.
I don't know whether it's exclusive. I can undo one of the titles, and I forget, have I given the titles right up to 29? I think I have.
I think we have to like 33.
Okay, to 33. Cool. So I can't give you anything there. I can say, but I can't even give you the replacement, that the episode title Poker Face will not be called Poker Face. It will be called something else. And when you see the episode, you may wonder why, but it may strike you as to why we changed the title.
Okay. Thank you very much for doing the interview.
Okay, terrific. Always a pleasure speaking with you.
Yeah, and I'll probably see you on Twitter.
Okay, thanks.